Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Common Call. If you're watching this video, you have no idea what time it actually is and how much time we've been spending prior to starting this. But anyway, super cool. I will share the minutes here. You should have access to those. If you could add yourself to this shortened meeting, that would be great. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you very much. I'm 49, if anybody cares.
I care.
You're still ahead of me.
I will be. You're
I
ahead of me
will.
too.
Sadly, I'm behind Sean, and I'm ahead of Kevin.
Yeah.
I know my spot on this call, so cool. For today, I think we had a couple outstanding action items. So Daniel and Dawn aren't on today, so obviously we'll be tabling those action items. Sean had 3 action items.
Yeah. Sean was going to do those action items before he didn't do those action items. So Sean, let's just note that Sean sucks, but I don't know. I can do them. I I swear to God.
So what about, do you see the top of page 2?
Yeah, I see the top of page 2. Like,
what I highlighted?
These are not like hard things for me.
No, I think maybe you could like
work on them right this moment.
Yep. Work on them in parallel with, because
Okay.
I think that's just a screenshot that you could probably grab pretty quickly.
Yep. Yeah, I've been, I spent most of yesterday and last night until about midnight tweaking the Augur community reports, and I have a meeting with my team about that after this.
Okay.
So just to give you an idea, let's see, language distribution within a project. Implementation of time to first response.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, yeah, all right, let me go get that. While I go get that, you continue the meeting.
Okay. I think probably the biggest thing for today is to take a look at if there are any comments on the metrics that are under review, and if so, kind of look through those. I don't know if there are. I didn't look ahead. So I will head over there. So I'll share my screen here.
For the quick question, for the visualizations, do you want me to obscure the name of the project, like with some, do you want me to not show the name of the project?
I think project's okay. I think the people we've always obscured.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Because like, even like, yeah, I don't know.
I generally, I think we have put the names of projects in metrics before. I always just a little.
Like, I'm just thinking like Anna had just shared from Bitergia, had just shared kind of a series of visuals on the LF AI projects. And those were project names were certainly not obscured in that regard. So I don't know how this would be worse than that. So
I don't think there is any problem with showing project names.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not like this is proprietary data or there's any trade secrets.
No, I always, I mean, I always ask the question when I've done something with somebody. Kate's given me permission to share her data, so I don't have any issue there.
Okay.
I just asked. Now the question's answered and taken care of.
Okay, so we have, you can see I'm looking at the common issues for the release candidates. We have 3 release candidates at the moment.
Time to first response, one of them?
Time to first response. Where is time to first response?
Where am I putting that? I'm obviously putting it in a metric somewhere,
Time to, oh, it's already been released.
Okay, so are we doing a revision of it?
Yeah. Can we
Time
do
to
that?
first response.
Why can't we do
Is
that?
did we change the metric?
I think we decided to add the visualization. So I don't
If I
think
look
it
at-
changes the metric to add the visualization.
I'm
There was
looking
just that.
on.
Is there a
looking,
is there a second time to first response metric? Does that exist in another
One is
working
last
group?
committed to February 12th. I don't know why it would be in these notes if it wasn't a common metric or wasn't the common version of the metric.
Time to first response is a common metric, but we did not flag it for review, and on the website it's just
Just
not on
normal.
review. Yeah.
I think this was just it's not that we decided to make.
Is
I
there
don't-
a,
I don't have a reason that I recall for why it's there, but we've been discussing it for quite some time now. So I presume we intend to do this.
If I look on the repository, it looks identical to the version that is published. So there's no. Oh, there's
did
a
I-
pull request.
Okay, what's in the pull request?
Oh, that's just a minor typo fix that I think we should accept, unrelated to this metric. So there's no change to time to first response.
No, there's
So
just
the-
the addition of another visualization that we talked about.
so why don't you, here's my suggestion. Why don't you go ahead and add it like as a, like issue it as a PR. And once this review period is done, meaning the end of July, we'll just keep it open for review as part of the continuous metrics release.
Okay.
Does that work for folks?
I don't see any reason why
Good
that
idea.
wouldn't work for folks, and it creates less confusion at the end. Here,
Yeah. But you can still go ahead and do it, and then just in terms of process of review, we'll just take care of it a week later.
Yep.
A week from, or whatever.
that makes perfect sense.
About a month.
And
Okay.
it completes
And then you can knock off an
task-
AI.
It completes a task that I've been
Yes.
assigned for a long time. That
Yes.
it's been so long we don't remember why. Other than I believe it was just to update it with other visualizations.
My guess is it was something that you hadn't provided before, time to first response in Augur, and then over time you had the capability of providing it, and you just wanted to get your visualization in there.
I think it may actually predate the release before this one, where I was like, oops, I forgot to put that in there. I think it might even be that dumb.
And then Sean, you were gonna kind of start this language distribution
Yeah, I've
issue. So
got that sketched out. I just need to share it.
okay.
I promise I will have that finished before the next common meeting.
Okay. So in terms of the answering things for the release coming up, great. I'll just take that as
we like that there will be a release. I am not creating any new metrics in any of my working groups prior to that release because I've been ordered not to do so because it would ruin Kevin's life.
Yes.
So works for me.
As far as this one goes, anybody comments? Moving on. It got a heart, and it looks good to me from Matt. So I like
It's like
that.
living in West Virginia. We got three choices: coal mine, moonshine, or moving on down the line.
We are moving on down on this one. So Georg Hart it
That's
is.
that's a quote from the coal miner's daughter, by the way, in case anybody really cares.
I care. So time to close. What is going on here? Time to close. Time to close. June.
Time to close was part of the continuous release.
Oh,
So
okay.
This issue got reopened. So
Gotcha.
it was closed and then reopened.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's
Just
part of our release process that makes your
yes.
life less hellish.
It'll be smoother next time. We've I think Georg and I
Yeah.
have figured out a much smoother process. So
Okay.
It should come as you to no surprise that I had an idea that made your life more difficult. I'm sorry.
So quit apologizing. You should say sorry to
I
that. See?
went to 12 years of Catholic school. This is not possible.
No, that's true. I did too. So sorry for making you apologize.
Thank you.
As long as you don't start with
I
mea
apologize
culpa.
for causing you to make me apologize.
Yes. Let's continue.
Doing this forever.
So I'm guessing this one is not going to have any real comments at this point. So looking good. Release notes. Actually, let me do that last. So types of contributions. Was this okay? So rework. Question about coding. Oh, this is old. Okay, so again, this is part of the. Oh, all right. So this one was Kevin. I'm guessing this was the same, right? It was part of the continuous release and then reopened as part of this window.
Does this one mention code reviews? Is this going to have to be edited when that changes, when we change the name of the code review metric or the reviews metric?
We haven't decided that yet. As I've thought about it, my belief is that there is not a conceptual similarity between what happens in Garrett and what happens in GitHub and GitLab, that although functionally they're serving the same purpose, conceptually what we would be measuring are just completely different things. And we need to think about conceptually what are the measures that are useful for Garrett and other things that may be like it. But you can't compare what Garrett does. Like if you created a comment metric with Garrett data, there's really no useful comparison with that same metric using GitHub or GitLab data. There's just not. And we'll have this discussion in evolution, but I think it's going to have to be a different metric. And we're going to change reviews to pull and merge requests and do that. That's my opinion. We'll see what people talk about and how it's discussed at the evolution meeting. I'll stop talking now.
And so to that also, Kevin, it looks like this is called reviewing code. Do you see that on my screen?
Yes.
So it looks like it kind of takes care of the concern that you had and the stuff that Sean was talking about as far as what we call reviews. This one seems pretty clear to me. Matt did have a comment. So if you could take a look right here.
Snow.
Broberg. So to me, this metric is about different types of contributions, not types of contributors. And I responded that below. So my suggestion here is that we don't confound types of contributions, which is what the metric that is currently under review is with types of contributors.
Yes. Types
And
of
it's
contrib-
certainly
types of
reasonable.
types of contributions and types of contributors would be profiled and measured differently.
I think so. Yep. And
Yeah,
so
they are not the same thing, and they change over time in different ways. So yeah, I concur.
so do we have a types of contributors?
I don't think
We have contributors.
we have types of. So we use. I think that the evolution of types of contributions over time is one of the things that community managers use to tell if they're likely to sustain or bring a person closer into the center of the project. So someone who starts with a comment and then opens an issue and then creates a pull request, as you move through that onion of types of contribution, your role in the project evolves, but that changes the type of contributor you are, right?
Yep.
So like you always start as a drive-by in a sense because you always make that first contribution. You're a repeat contributor after some level of continuous contribution over time. And so your types of contributions are distinct from your type of contributor.
Yes.
Types of contributions actually don't change over time. It's the types of contributors that an individual, the type of contributor I am over time will evolve.
So
a
we
pull
have
request is forever a pull request.
But to me, types of contribution also evolves over the life cycle of the project.
Types of
For
contributors.
example, types of contribution, not the contributors. Also, new contributors comes in, but types of contribution also evolves. Like a project
Yes.
is now more focused on the development side, when it matures more focused on the governance or documentation side. So the type of contributions also evolves over the period of time.
Yes, the quantities of those types of contributions evolve over time. I guess I was arguing the nature of them doesn't evolve over time, whereas the nature of the individual contributor, I think, does evolve over time. You're right. There'll be the project's characteristics evolve in the same way that the person does.
Yes.
It changes over time, but my hairline is my hairline. It's not changing.
Right. The types of to your point, the types of contributions are really based on the structure of GitHub and the general idea of how we design software, right, or develop software, right?
So at the moment we have types of contributions, which is the metric that is under review. I think my suggestion is, well, hold on. So we have types of contributions, which is under review. We have contributors, which is a released metric, and contributors is about the names of people. It's like authorship. It even says so somewhere, authorship somewhere in there. Oh, who are the contributors? It's about the person's name, basically, collect author names, which is not the types of contributor. So my suggestion is that we, in the points that Matt brought up, that we actually would propose a new common metric, which would be types of contributors. Sorry. Which would be types of contributors. I guess that's the end of my sentence.
Yeah.
I agree to that. Either we apply this to the filter in the existing metric, or we develop a new metric.
Yeah, and I think throwing types of contributors into types of contributions is a bad idea, and throwing types of contributors into the current contributors metric is also a bad idea.
I agree. It should be separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conceptually, they're different things.
Can somebody add that comment to the issue?
Sure, I'll do it.
Thank you. And so
I'm
then,
just,
yeah, go ahead.
can I ask a quick, sorry, can I ask a quick question about this? I'm curious how you would automate or pull that data from somewhere of how like what category someone falls into. Would it be based on the type of contribution that this person has made? Or like how would we programmatically
Get
define
that? Yeah.
pools of people? I mean, I guess that's a conversation to be had around the metric, is trying to define how you would even gather that data. So maybe that's
From,
the whole point of having that conversation. Yeah.
from what I could understand, there was like a like a self-reporting tool that can capture that data. So I would,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, and so I think that's what Matt is trying to show here in this visual, and that we could pull that data as recognized participants in a project. I'm not quite sure, but I understand your point. So I'm going to add this here. Yep. Okay. Yeah, and even to your point, Elizabeth, I'm not real sure like what the categories for types of contributor are. I'm sure they've been specified, but I'm having a hard time. Like, is it things like event planner?
I know
Yes,
that.
I think Matt's comment, he kind of outlined a few of them with
Okay.
some definition, but yeah.
Those really feel like tasks, though. Those aren't really types of contributors. I think a contributor is going to contribute through multiple different tasks.
I know that over at GNOME, that Shri has a new project to look at scalable onboarding, and they are, as part of their work, defining the roles that are in the GNOME project. So maybe that's something where we can borrow from.
Oh, right. So maybe like the terminology wouldn't even be like types of contributors, but it would be like community roles or something like that. If GNOME's already teasing that out a little bit. How are they doing it, Georg? Do you know? Is it self-report?
I don't think they're collecting who is currently filling those roles, but they're defining what are the roles in the project, and that's happening in a Google Doc, just like we are defining our metrics.
So like kind of first things first, create the role categories, and then people could populate those columns as they see fit. Okay. Okay. So then the last thing is the release notes. Kevin, was there anything here that needed to be taken care of?
Let me see. 3 metrics were released. These are 3 new metrics? Did we edit any existing metrics in here?
It's 3 metrics total, as 2 were part of the continuous metrics cycle, and 1 I think is a completely new metric.
Okay. No, I think that's everything.
Okay. All right. We have 0 minutes.
Pull request 75 has been issued with those visualizations, so we are good to go.
Let's
I got an AI done.
yeah.
Okay. We should probably create a issue, a review comment issue
Oh, okay.
for
can do
that
that.
metric.
I will do
So
that right now.
so that we know it'll be released on the next release. Is that what we decided?
Yes. Is there a
Yeah,
template for that somewhere?
You can probably just
Uh,
nab.
Yeah, I'd just copy the.
Release candidate comments contributor location.
Yeah, just copy that
Okay.
like this up here.
And maybe add a maybe add that it's for the next regular release, which will be in
For the next
January.
Continuous release.
It's for the continuous release.
So it will be on the continuous release, but it's going to be for the next regular release of January, right? That's when it'll.
Yeah.
So it'll be on the website though, as soon as
Yes.
the continuous release process. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Yes. It'll be updated like in a month, kind of, or 2 months maybe. After there's an official review period.
On the continuous metric release cycle, the way I understand it is we put it on the website when we start the review period. And then it stays on the website until the next release. And then
Okay.
it becomes part of the website anyway.
Perfect. So then it would basically be on the website in about a month or 3 weeks or something along those lines. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
It can, as soon as that pull request is in, it could actually go onto the website. Because once it goes onto the website, it's under review, and then we determine when that review ends. We could do the 30-day comment period, or we can just leave the review open until the regular release review.
I think what we decided,
what we're doing.
Kevin, I think what we decided and what's in the handbook right now is that the review period stays open until the release.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, you just said something about 30 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I said
there
we
is
could leave it open, or we could leave the comment period open for 30 days and then reopen it for the regular release, or we can leave it open all the way to the regular release. Are the two
I
options.
thought we decided not to close and open.
Well, the second item is what we had discussed, but it was just you and I that had discussed it. We haven't.
I guess the trick is if there's a continuously released metric that people are really against, that is, receives a lot of opposition. This hasn't happened, but if there's a continuously released metric, I guess this 30-day period, formally or informally, gives us a policy-based reason to rip it down, as opposed to making it sit there for 5 months while we wait for our next release. You see what I'm saying? Like, I guess in that case,
we'll deal with it when it comes.
Okay.
So
fair.
Metrics can be edited when they're in the review process, right? So you can.
Yes.
That's true.
You can respond to those comments and make edits during that review comment period.
Yes. So I have one very small comment that I'm just going to plant a seed in everybody's brain, and this has come up before. So, and I'm going to bring this up in each of the working groups. So as our list of metrics continues to expand on the website, right? As we continue to get kind of a long list, one of my concerns is that we're going back into the old GitHub table that we just have a giant, it's pretty well formed, but we just have a giant list of metrics, and people go to that site and they're like, blah, so do we care about that? Is that just like a dictionary at this point? That if people want more information, great. Or do we want to create ways to filter through those? You see what I'm saying? So we could either just leave it like a published dictionary and be like, whatever, you just work your way through it. It's not alphabetical either, so good luck. Or we create filters.
I kind of think we need both. Right. We need to have the ability to see all of the released metrics, but we also need to have the ability to filter and
Okay.
visualize the metrics in a very consumable way.
Okay.
I think
I
the
would
time-
add to that.
I think there's a period, not maybe a year from now, where these community reports become the central part of a story that leads people to look up a reference section for an alphabetized list of atomic metrics, which will be alphabetized by the metric, or basically maybe categorized by something. That the atomic metrics will be critical because they're the shared definition that was missing before CHAOSS. But the stories will become how people decide to start understanding what we're doing.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
fair. I think the dashboards could
Yep.
kind of serve that function as well.
But
So
I would
the-
suggest to have a
Go ahead.
dictionary will be good, and we can have a
Yes.
filter like, okay, this bunch of the item from the dictionary belongs to this group, and more details are in these.
Yeah.
But having a dictionary will be easy access for the people.
I also think a matrix where metrics that are relevant in multiple areas might be involved too, but these are future discussions. I have no strong opinions in these areas.
So I will, so that's the seed. All I'll say is I will lean towards simplicity in how we filter and show things.
I find that surprising, but okay.
Yes, I know. It's a weird tick that I have. So anyway, think about that.
To your point, even if we're striving for simplicity, as this list gets longer, the complexity is going to increase. So
It's all about how we end up classifying the metrics, and just let's not stay married to the idea that just because a work group develops a metric, that is the way that people will navigate to it.
Yep.